Today I'm going to show you how to fix your defrost on your Volkswagen Passat. This is a 2015 Volkswagen Passat, and I had no defrost coming from my front vents up here. I had it from the face and a little bit from the floor, but no defrost. Didn't matter how I turned this, what orientation, I could spin it all, and it wasn't changing what was coming out of the face vents or the floor vents. It was just stuck on that same setting. My temperature was working fine. I was getting AC, I was getting heat. My fans was working fine, but it just wasn't changing modes, and it was getting kind of dangerous when this glass would fog up and I couldn't turn on the defrogger and change it out. But I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, the first thing I would do before I start replacing any parts, taking it apart, I would try to do a HVAC reset, and you can do that by pressing and holding the AC button and the recirculation button down for 10 seconds. If you hold that down for 10 seconds and just let go and then wait a minute, you can start hearing some of those gears. They'll start moving around and trying to recalibrate. So try that first, and then if you don't get anything, then we may have to replace some parts. I'm going to put the replacement part into the description of the video below, and I'll show you how to do this simply without removing the dash. Just kidding. There's no way you can replace the actuator without having to remove the dash. I tried and I thought, you know, there's no way I have to remove this entire dash just to replace this part right here, but you do. I mean, it's a very simple part, held on with 3 screws, but I had to take the entire dash. I tried, you know, I just took out the radio at first and I could see it in there. I said, well, let me take off this panel, and to take off that panel I had to take off this panel, and you just start taking off panels and then you pretty much have it all removed anyways. So I know it's very daunting, but if you take your time, or very meticulous, it'll work out and pull out. But just take your time. There are a lot of connections here. I mean, you got your airbag connectors here, right here, and here. You got your speakers for the dash up here, and on the other side, all your radio connections right here on your head unit, your clock analog connection there. But just take your time. If there is a bright note, at least most all the screws are the same. So you got these T20 head screws, so get you a couple different T20 bits to try out. There's a few T25 as well, star bits, but out of the, I don't know, I got a whole cup holder full of screws here. Probably out of the 30 screws I took out, only 4 of them were different, and they were still T20. They were just a shorter version. So when you take these out, put you a little tape on the holes that have the small screws, and it's not much. I mean, you probably can't even tell the difference. So there's a small screw versus one of the other screws that was the majority of them. No big deal there. Like I said, 4 out of 30 are the short ones, but just work your way down. Now, I did not take out the steering wheel. If you have seen a couple videos where they take out the steering wheel, I didn't have the tools to do that, so I left it and it worked out fine. I also didn't take out my armrest, my center column here. That was okay. It was difficult to remove the glove compartment right here, because it's all hinged on this right here. Same thing on this side for this panel that goes here. It was difficult to remove. That's why they want you to remove this center column here. But I was able to kind of take off all the screws except for this one, then kind of bend it down, tilt it, and pop it up out of there. It's about a 50-50 chance if you break that tab or not. Same goes on this one, but I just really didn't want to remove this. And also, I'd already disconnected my battery, and my chair was locked in place because it's an electronic motor. It's not manual like the passenger side, and I didn't have access to the screw on this side, so I was kind of stuck with it. But you can certainly take out your dash without removing the steering wheel and without removing this. There's a couple good videos on there on YouTube on removing your entire dash. I recommend doing those, but skip the part on the steering wheel and this column. It'll save you some time. Did take out the side right here. That makes it a lot easier. Now, I did a little tip. I did add a wire right here, a string to this cable. This is your solar light sensor here. I was really worried about when I go put this dash on how I'm going to connect that one and pull it back through. So I have that string right there so I can run that on. I'll go over the tools that I used. So pretty simple. Not a whole lot of different tools necessary. You use your drill with a T20 bit. Make sure you have a couple T20 bits and just some ratchets. This one came in handy. Had a small little T20 bit on there with a ratchet with a short end. There's places where The regular ratchet was too long, so this one was short enough to get in there with a little T20 there. Plastic trim tool, certainly need that. Need some trim tool on this plastic so you don't crack it. It's always better than a screwdriver, but you still do need a screwdriver just in case. Get one with a metallic tip, because some of these were hard to pull out, or I was afraid they were going to drop out. So as you back out, having that metallic tip on the end of a screwdriver helps. And that's about it. Extension always helps. If you have a manual ratchet, you can get in some long places. Another place, let me tell you, that was difficult to remove. So another reason why they want you to remove the center column is because there's two screws right here and here at the bottom of the dash. These right here are difficult. These were the last two screws I pulled out, and it's because this is sitting right here. But I was able to use an extension to kind of get down in there, push this cover down and move it out of the way a little bit and wiggle that. So that was difficult, but still managed, and it's certainly worth not having to pull out the center console. But now start pulling this out. Now to remove this, you need a 6mm wrench. It's not a cakewalk once you get to this point. If you look at the space there, I didn't have enough space to pull out the screw, so you need a little 6mm right there. So there's the other screw, and that one's difficult to get to. Certainly not enough space to get a ratchet in there, a wrench in there, so you need to open-ended wrench, and I'm just worried I'm going to drop it, so I have it tied to this same wire here so that if I do drop it down in there, I can pull it back out. So all right, I'm going to pull this out, and we'll see if that fixes our problem. Overview of everything I had to take out. Obviously the dash right here, but then the clock, the air vents, the radio, climate control, trim, speedometer, a little cubby there, air vents, trim, light switch, airbag panel, more panels right there, side panel, fuse box, glove compartment, air vent, and more side panels and airbag trim. I wanted to double check to make sure that this thing is moving and not stuck, and you can see it is working. So as you spin this wheel, the flaps open. This side over here opens and closes the defrost. So depending on what setting that it spins to, it'll close that door. So glad that this is moving on. Now I'm almost confident that my actuator is the failure mode. So now I'm going to put the new one back on. Now when you go to put this on, and it was a little difficult, I had to really separate this to get that blue shaft there into that actuator part. But it finally got it on. As a point of reference, you want to try to line this up to this arrow. I know you're kind of stuck with whatever position that you're in, so there's not a whole lot of options there, but I think if you were to one side or the other, that would cause some alarm, and you might want to take this blue piece off that's held right here so that you could move it over 90 degrees. But we're going to recalibrate this out, so it shouldn't matter. Another little tip here. In order to fasten that last screw, I had to take a 6mm wrench and cut it in half just so that I could get around the frame there and get some meaningful turns. I tied a string to it as well, just so I didn't want to drop it. Very easy to drop it because it's so hard to get to. You're barely hanging on, getting it around that frame. But just another little tip, you may have to cut a 6mm wrench in half. Okay, got everything put back together. Trim and everything went back real nice. Can't even tell I took it off. First thing, you're going to put your battery cable back on, and we're going to turn it on, and we're not going to touch a thing. So just leave it on, don't touch anything. You'll see you might have some warning lights come up, but I'll talk about that here in a second. Now, part of that recalibration process that I was talking about, it's not doing anything. If you listen, these motors are moving. I don't think you can hear it, but you can just barely hear it. Those motors are moving, and what they're doing is they're recalibrating. So I'm going to leave this. Don't touch your knobs. It's kind of tempting after doing that replacement, but don't touch them for 5 minutes. So I'm just going to come back after 5 minutes, have the car running, and we'll take off some of these warning lights here. That's just because we took the battery cable off. I'll show you how to reset those, and then we'll test it out after 5 minutes. All right, I'm going to show you how to clear out these two codes, this one right here and this one right here. So if we turn the wheel all the way to the left till it stops, hold it for 2 seconds, then come back, turn it all the way to the right till it stops right there, and then let's bring it back to the center right there, and our codes are gone. You might have to put it in reverse, but what you're doing, you're just resetting and knowing where the center is, so it finds center on the steering wheel. And then our tire pressure monitor sensor right there, you just click open your glove box there, hold this one down for 3 seconds, and then start driving, and that one will go away as well. All right, now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Does it actually work? So I'm going to turn on the air. Well, I'm not going to turn it up all the way. You can turn it up max to really know if it works, but just turn about midways. And I can hear it already, and I can feel it through these vents here. So now I have defrost coming out from the front windshield. I can change it out, and it moves over. Now I got air coming out from the face vents. Move it over to feet, and I can feel under here. I have a nice airflow under the feet. So it took a long time, but it works now, and that's what matters. So thanks for watching, and maybe if this helped, like and subscribe. Appreciate it.